Hello, third graders. And again, welcome to lesson 7-2. We're going to make picture graphs today. You should have already watched the visual learning video for 7-2 and followed along on page 258 in your Envision, volume 1. If not, then go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and go back to that using your page 258. Those of you who've already watched, remember that a frequency table looks like this. It uses, it records the data, and we use tally marks. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, and when we get to 5, we cross it and make a bundle. So that's what each of these represents as 5. We count by 5s, 5, 10, that's what we see here, 5, 10, 15, 20. And then we take the information, that data, from our frequency table, and we can make picture graphs or bar graphs, and that's what they've done with this information down here. They've turned the 10 into a picture where a triangle represents 10, a half a triangle then would represent 5. So let's go ahead and turn back to page 257 and look at Solve and Share together. Mary is helping her teacher count school playground equipment. She records the data in a frequency table. Use the data in the table to complete the picture graph. Write 2 statements about your completed graph. All right, so here's our data in the frequency table. Remember, each tally represents 1 and each slash makes a bundle, which would represent 5. So we've got 5, 10, that's indicated here. 5, 10, this is just 5. 5, 10, 15 for soccer balls. So what is important to remember is that when you're making your picture graph, it's very important to have your title. You would use the same title that you would for your data. This is school playground equipment. Please fill in your page as we go along. You can always pause the video if we're going to quickly for you to write everything, and then unpause it as you are ready to move on. So we look at basketballs first. Basketballs was represented here. We've got 5, 10, the number is 10. We look at our key for our picture graph that was already made for us. Sometimes we'll have to come up with that on our own, but this says that each basketball represents 2 items, and a half a ball represents 1 item. So if we have 10 basketballs, we would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, because each ball represents 2. So that's why I counted by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Jump ropes, 10 again. Do the same thing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Bats, there were 5 bats. So 2, 4, now we can't do another full ball because that would bring us to 6. 5 is represented by 2, 4, plus 1 more, so we have to just draw a half a ball to represent the 1. 2, 4, plus 1 makes 5. Soccer balls, 15, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. If we did another, we'd be at 16, which would be too much. So again, we need just a half a ball, 1 more to make 15. And that's how you make your picture graph. Use your key and draw your pictures. So how did you know the number of symbols to draw for jump ropes? Well, we went up to jump ropes in our frequency table. We saw that there were 10. We knew that counting by 2s, it would take 5 2s to make 10. So we drew 5 balls. All right, 2 things that we could write over here, 2 statements about our completed graph. We could write that there are the same number of basketballs as jump ropes. We could say that there are the fewest bats of all the playground equipment. We could say that soccer balls are what we have most of the playground equipment that is there is the most of. lots of different things that you could write for your statements. You just choose two. You could say how many more soccer balls there are than bats. Anything like that would suffice. All right, so moving on to page 259, it says, use the picture graph on the previous page. Now they're referring to what you did with the visual learning video here. So we're gonna skip these two because we didn't do those two together. And we are gonna go over here to Do You Know How? Use the table to complete the picture graph. So we have a frequency table here of favorite school lunches. Our lunch items are taco, pizza, salad. Our tallies, again, each tally represents 1. Each bundle, we call this a bundle when it crosses over diagonally like that, represents 5. So we have 1, 2 tacos. We have 5, 6, 7, 8 pizzas. And we have 3 salads for favorite school lunch. We go here to make our picture graph. By using the frequency table, we can fill this in. We know that a lunch bag represents 2 votes. Taco was voted twice for favorite, so we would just draw 1 bag. And I'm not the best drawer, and they've made it a little bit detailed here. So this would represent 2. Pizza is 8, so we're going to need to draw 2, 4, 6, 8. Could be as simple as that. And salad was 3. 2, another full bag would bring us to 4. We only need 3, so we're going to do a half a bag to represent our 3, or 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. Again, we have a title, favorite school lunch. It's the same title as we found in our frequency table when we collected our data. And our picture graph has a key here. Each symbol represents either 2 votes or 1 vote. You get to try the same down at independent practice on the bottom of the page, completing number 4 and 5 and 6 using this data table, the goals each team has scored. Tally marks again, they've counted them for you, and then they've already set the key in the picture graph. So each ball represents how many goals, each half ball equals how many goals. I want you to use this data over here to decide, would we want to use just numbers like 2 and 1 over here? Let's look at our numbers. We've got large numbers here. We do notice that they all count by 5s. They're all multiples of 5s. So perhaps maybe each ball could represent 5. Maybe each would represent 10 and each half ball would be 5. That's for you to decide. I just want you to see that you probably would not choose 2 and 1 here because you have large numbers over here. And so after doing page 259, 4, 5, and 6, you'll do number 11 on the back on page 260.